You're listening to the Snob OS podcast, the podcast for Apple snobs. Hey, this is Nica Montford, aka Tech Savvy Diva.
And yo, this is Terrance Gaines, aka Brother Tech.
And welcome to the Snob OS show, the show for Apple snobs where we talk all things Apple and then some. Welcome back, everyone, to this week's show. It is Apple announcement week, the big one, the fall announcement week. And this week, that's pretty much what the show's going to be about, is talking about awe dropping. So before we get into all of the goodness, if you consider it goodness, we want to take a couple of seconds to definitely thank everybody for tuning in and listening to the show, supporting the show, chatting with us online, in our Discord channel, on social media, all those good things. And just a little reminder, you can listen and or watch our show and rate and review our show on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube. You can also head on over to patreon.com/snobOScast to become a patron. There you will find out how to watch the show live and get some exclusive content. All right, now that we got that out of the way, let's jump into the lowdown where we're going to talk all things awe dropping event. So on this past Tuesday, if you're listening to us live, yesterday, if you're listening to us on Friday, hope you got yourself together to pick up some goodies, was the fall Apple event, which was called Awe Dropping. And normally I live tweet the event, but this year, and we normally, as a Snob OS podcast, go on with Tom, Sarah, Rob, and the whole crew over at DTNS, and we usually talk after the announcement. But this year, something new happened. We did a live stream. So as the announcement was happening in real time, we were able to give our impressions with some of our favorite tech people. So head on over to, I think you can catch the rewatch of that, the replay, yes, of that. We'll also drop it in our notes as well. So that's pretty much the big, setup of what we're going to talk about today. We talked, like I said, the fall event, which is typically known as the iPhone event. So it indeed was the iPhone event. So this week we are going to do our quote unquote recap of the event a little bit different, because I think at this point, everybody's been online. Everybody's kind of seen all the things that happened. I think this week, we should just kind of go through some of the highlights or noted features of the different products that were released, and then kind of give you some of our, hot takes and impressions on some things that we find were our favorite of the announcement, if we had any, or things that weren't so much our favorite, just to kind of go through and actually, after you got our real time kind of instant impressions, now we've kind of had a day to settle with it. So this can give us, I guess, a more, what's the word I'm looking for? A more measured, I guess, not our initial takes. We've kind of settled with this. So it's had time to marinate. So yeah, we're just going to go with that. All right. So some of the product highlights. So first off, for this event, we got new AirPods, we got new Apple Watches, and we got new iPhones. We'll kind of follow the same trajectory that the event took on kind of running through the different products. So we're going to kick it off with the AirPod Pro 3. So I know we talked about last week. I think we were both interested in hoping that we saw new AirPods. So we saw new AirPods. After you've seen the event and kind of gotten time to kind of think through your initial impressions, what are you thinking of on the AirPod Pro 3? Is there anything that really stood out to you that you want to highlight, or anything that people may want to be aware of, noted in their, decision-making process of whether they should pick up something or pick up these AirPods?
The AirPods Pro 3 was a needed update. It's been a while since Apple released a newer version of the AirPods Pro. AirPods Pro 2 have been out for a couple years now, and
Mm-hmm.
mine are pretty much worn in, so they are due for an upgrade. So Apple came right on time with this update. The things that stuck out most to me, you'll probably attest to this, is the additional ear tips.
Mm-hmm.
In older or previous versions of AirPods, they gave you three: small, medium,
Mm-hmm.
large. With this AirPods 3, they're going to do five. So I don't know if it's extra small, small, medium, medium, large, and extra large, right?
Mm-hmm.
Whatever those tips are, they are offering additional tips for different sized ears. So that's a big thing that stuck out to me. And then the other two things that stuck out the most was the heart rate monitoring and the live translation. So for the heart
Mm-hmm.
rate monitoring, if you don't have an Apple Watch, for example, or if you feel like you can get better readings with your AirPods reading your heart rate, just for exercise though, it's not just in general. You got to be doing a workout, you got to be doing a Apple Fitness program or whatever the case may be. But if you are, you will be able to benefit from additional heart rate monitoring through the AirPods. That's that. And then live translation. So if you're in another country, you can turn on live translation. The person is talking to you naturally in their language. The AirPods interpret it into your language so you can hear it. Then using your phone, you can talk back to the person in your natural language, hold the phone up, and it'll either translate it into words, or the speakerphone will translate it in audio into their natural language. So those are the main things that popped out. Bonus is their same price, no extra price, no increase, anything of that nature. So all around, people were looking for it, and Apple pretty much delivered. Wasn't no crazy fanfare, but people were looking for an AirPods update. Apple delivered, and they gave them everything that people were looking for.
It's pretty much a bread and butter type of update. I agree. If you guys watch the show on YouTube or watch us live, you'll always see me kind of, pushing the AirPods back in my ear because I have small ears. And even with the smallest tip, as I talk, they kind of inch out. So I'm looking forward to the hopefully extra small ear tips on the new AirPods Pro. I think for something that I wasn't quite sure on with the heart monitoring.
Mm-hmm.
Is it I don't think they said, unless I missed it. I know they said, it had to be a workout, but some people don't necessarily use Apple Fitness Plus or don't use the fitness tracking. I'm assuming, is it like an automatic thing where your heart rate goes up and they assume you're on a workout? I don't know how, or if you have, or if the feature is not engaged until you use the workout on your wrist, because of course not all workouts are listed in the app, and some people I know they just if it's not something that they're doing that's in the app, they just won't necessarily turn that feature on.
Well, a tip is, if you can't find the activity or the fitness either on your watch or on the phone, there is a other
Mm-hmm.
workout that you can select, and it'll do a better job of checking your heart rate. If you're doing steps or physical
Mm-hmm.
activity, your heart rate or whatever the case may be. Like for instance, I was joking earlier this week that they need a lawnmower workout, because at least
Mm-hmm.
once or twice a week, I'm walking behind my lawnmower for a nice amount of time, maybe 90 minutes to almost 2 hours, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it'd be nice to have a lawnmower activity, but mostly I just click the other
Other.
activity. And then if you do that, then you can use the AirPods to track your heart rate monitoring that way.
Yeah. And then the last thing, the live translations. I'm looking forward to that. As you know, I travel quite a bit, so I'm looking forward to that. But I also saw a few people saying the nail salon is going to get a little bit more active these days, because a lot of times in the nail salon, the nail techs will be speaking their native language. And sometimes, people in the nail salon, this like, it feels like they're talking about me. And
Mm-hmm.
sometimes they probably are.
Mm-hmm.
And some people say, it's going to make the nail experience, getting your nails done, a little bit different, because now you're going to be able to hear what's being said around you and or about you. The other thing to mention is they didn't say how it would be more improved, but if it's two people with AirPods talking to each other on the translation, they said that it would be a more easier, seamless process. So I don't know if it's something where if, you're saying, say you and I are talking and you're speaking one language, I'm speaking another, and you speak to me, and that language, the translation automatically goes through my ear. I'm not sure, but they made it seem like if you're talking to a person
You don't have
that
to select
has
the language.
AirPods, yeah, that it would be an elevated type of experience. So they didn't say exactly what went into that, but they alluded to the fact that, of course, if you're talking to someone without them, you talked about the translation, holding up your phone. They made it seem like if two people with AirPods are talking, that the translation feature would be a bit better and different than just talking to someone without them. So I
I
guess we'll
mean, it
have
makes
to see what it
sense.
looks like. Yeah,
I
it
mean,
does.
it's logically it makes sense, but they did. I don't remember them saying that, but it'd be logically. I mean, y- by default, if I have the AirPods in and I've got live translation turned on, and they
Mm-hmm.
have AirPods in and they have live translation turned on,
Yeah.
then it should be. I mean, of course, it ain't gonna be as fast as me
Right.
talking and you interpreting. There may be a
Right.
little bit of a delay, but it makes sense that it would just work. Now,
Yeah.
provided you got to make sure I've got the AirPods 3, they've got the AirPods 3, I've got translation turned on, they've got translation turned on. You got to jump through those hoops first,
Yeah.
which would probably just be easier for if I just had them on to just hold my phone up and then they tell me that they'll indicate, oh, I've got it too. And then you sync
Yeah.
up and then you do
Yeah.
it, which
Yeah.
would take some steps ahead of time. But at the very least, as long as one person has them in and there is some sort of language barrier,
Yeah.
may not be as much of a language barrier anymore.
Yeah. So it'll be interesting to see if there's something specific that changes when two people talking to AirPods, or if there's some setting you can turn on that says if you connect to another, if you're talking to another set, it makes it easy. I don't know. So we'll see what that actually looks like. So to me, that was the AirPods Pro 3 was one of, to me, the bigger updates. Next up, after Tim Cook and team got finished talking about AirPods, they went into Apple Watch. So the whole line is getting a new version. There's a new Apple Watch SE, there's a new Apple Watch 11, and then there's an Apple Watch Ultra 3. I think we can maybe talk SE and Ultra 2 maybe together, and then maybe do Ultra 3 separate. Or if there's anything, I guess, between the three that really kind of was a call out to you, as far as what we're getting with these new Apple Watches.
Um, Not really. Just outside of the fact that according to the video, Apple Watch 11 is slimmer.
Mm-hmm.
The Apple Watch Ultra 3 has, I think, for both the Apple Watch 11 and the Ultra 3, they both have 5G connectivity. When
Mm-hmm.
in my watch right now, I've got the Apple Watch Ultra 2 that
Mm-hmm.
it just has LTE. So
Yeah.
that is a feature. Apple has expanded on their sensors and they offer what is it called? They called
Blood
it
pressure.
but what was the other word that they didn't really say blood pressure? They called it hypertension. That's what it was.
Hypertension.
The official.
I think that's hypertension is the official medical terminology. I think, layman's term is just like, oh, you have blood pressure.
Yeah, right. But I suspect that Apple was very careful and not mentioning a blood pressure monitor. They called
Mm-hmm.
it hypertension notifications because
Mm-hmm.
again, traditional blood pressure, you have to measure the pressure of
Yeah.
your blood, and it takes something that is strapped or secured tightly around your wrist,
And it constricts.
and it constricts and then measures the actual pressure. Since the Apple Watch doesn't have any sort of strap or band that constricts your watch or constricts your wrist, then it uses an additional sensor to, and if I'm don't quote me on this, it measures how your blood reacts or how your vessels
I think it's
react.
the flow, right? I think it's the I'm looking on the website now to see if it said, what it specifically said, but I think yeah, because you don't get that compression
Right.
factor.
It measures how your blood vessels react to the blood that's pumping through them. And it
Yes.
uses that to measure, give you a notification. Again, I'm not saying blood pressure because Apple didn't say it. So it uses that technology to give you a possible notification if you are experiencing some sort of hypertension. So
Yeah, and on the website it says the optical sensor provides data to an algorithm that can detect potential hypertension by analyzing how your blood vessels respond to beats over of the heart over a 30-day period. So it's not like an initial it's not I don't think it's used as it's not supposed to be used as a diagnostic tool. It's supposed to be used as a monitoring tool. And I think the thing is because I want to say in the announcement, they said they don't have FDA approval yet, but it's in the process. And I think that's probably one of the things that they are trying to make sure that they don't want people to use this as a diagnostic tool to tell you that you have high blood pressure. Most people who have high blood pressure know they have high blood pressure. And a lot of times they are on medication or on when I was at my parents' house for my dad's birthday, the doctor's office for my grandmother they mailed her a home blood pressure tool, and it had the cuff, and we had to slide it on our arm. You press the button and it does the whole compression and all of that. So I don't think this is meant to be that, but it's just a way that if you know you have high blood pressure already or you have hypertension, it'll kind of maybe give you a guide to maybe when your blood pressure goes up, and it can kind of give you an idea. And they said they do this over a 30-day period. So it's not necessarily just the initial or the one time reading. They track it to give you a trend. And looking at the image that they posted for this, it says possible hypertension. And I think they put that, I'm sure their legal team, was like, we're not going to give anything definitive. We just want to kind of let you know. So all the images that I've seen of the heart pressure, when I guess it's engaged and it does give you a reading, it just says possible hypertension to kind of keep that whole liability thing intact. But I think out of all of this, other than the size being bigger and the 5G, because I have the series, what is this, 10, and I have the LTE service, even though I don't use it, but I have it. So I think it's just giving, people better, connectivity. And I think that was really highlighted in the package that they played during the event, where it talked about all these different people who used, the Apple Watch, when they were lost, or some guy had a stroke, or someone was using it to prepare to run a marathon. It kind of gave you that kind of like emotional kind of wave and crescendo of things leading into the Apple Watch. There are a couple changes, similar to only a couple changes with the AirPods, but I think the changes are notable as well.
Yep. And I think all of the versions, the Apple Watch 11, the SE3, and the Ultra 3, they all get the satellite connectivity. Even though the SE does not get 5G, it does get satellite. The Apple Watch SE3 also gets an always on display, and it gets gestures. So if you think about the double tap to play and pause, and then the flick of the wrist to clear or cancel any sort of phone or text notifications. The Apple Watch SE3 gets that as well. The Apple Watch Ultra 3, of course, gets the up to 42 hours of battery life. So almost 2 full days on a full charge. Well, 4 days, 3 days almost on a full charge. And then the Apple Watch Ultra 3 has an OLED display, which makes the screen or display even brighter and larger. So those are the major things from all the different Apple Watches, the Series 11, SE3, and the Ultra 3.
And there is no price increase on the Apple Watch line either. So they're all kind of holding, all the SE, the 11, and the Ultra are holding steady to what the prices were previously. And for both, I don't think we mentioned on the AirPods and the Apple Watch, they are available for pre-order now, I think. I think they were...
I think the AirPods 3 are available for pre-order now. I don't think the watches are, but I'll have to double check.
Let's see. I'm on the website. It has the pre-order. Yeah, you can pre-order it now.
Oh, all right. All right.
So, yeah. So, if you're listening live, go ahead and get in on that. If you're listening to this Friday, hopefully the days haven't slipped out too bad for you so far. All right. The final thing, kind of the main draw of the Apple announcement, is the announcement of iPhone 17. And it is indeed called iPhone 17. I think the biggest thing for the iPhone 17s is the iPhone 17 got a lot of upgrades. It got a lot of the Pro line upgrades. The introduction of a brand new iPhone, the iPhone Air. That is probably the biggest, I guess, confirmation of all of the rumors. And then we have the iPhone 17 Pro line. So I guess we'll start with the iPhone 17. What should the folks be aware of, or things that should be really highlighted if people are trying to make a decision on what to purchase, if they are in the market for a new iPhone, or is there anything on the new iPhone 17 that you would say, yeah, you need to go ahead and get this phone?
I ain't gonna tell you to have to go ahead and get anything, but I will give you like the highlights of all the new things, right? It has a new A19 chip. The iPhone 17 has a little bit larger 6.3-inch display. One of the benefits of the newer iPhone 17 is it has 120 hertz refresh rate. So that's going to give you smoother video playback. It also has a 3000 nits display. I'm assuming that, I've never known what nits means, but I'm going to break it down to...
That's the brightness, I think.
Right. The iPhone 17 gets always on display. That was only relegated to the Pro and the Pro Max of last year. It has a tougher Ceramic Shield 2, which is gives you 3 times better scratch and drop resistance. You get faster wired charging. You get a 48 megapixel ultra wide display on the iPhone 17, and all of the phones get a better center stage landscape front facing camera. So what that means is, without turning your phone, if you're doing a selfie, without turning your phone in landscape to do a selfie, the front facing phone can automatically detect more
people in the photo,
and will adjust accordingly. So those are the major things for the iPhone 17.
Yeah, I think, like I said, kind of at the start of this, it's when I was watching the event, I was like, it's creeping up, really on the Pro line territory. And so in my mind, I was like, this must mean there's going to be something else that's going to be a huge differentiator once we get to the Pro line. And I don't think, correct me if I'm wrong, on the iPhone 17, they didn't mention a plus version, right? It's just
Nope.
like your standard iPhone. So it sounds like the plus part of the iPhone 17 is not there this year. And I think the other thing to note is the iPhone 17 is coming in to some different colors that we haven't seen. They're very kind of pastel-y. So there's like a lavender, there's like a sky blue. It's not, and there's a green. It's not like a sage green, but it's almost kind of like, I don't know. It's like, it's not like a super light green. It's not a super dark. It's kind of like your middle of the road kind of green. And then of course your standard, what, everyone would call black and white. So if you care about how your phone looks, you have that. So you have some extra colors. Again, for the iPhone 17, no change in price. It's keeping pace with the iPhone 16 prices. All right. So the next thing that's up, I thought this was going to be their kind of like big thing kind of separated out, but no, it just kind of fell right in with the lineup, the iPhone 17 Air.
And to correct you, it is the iPhone Air.
Oh, it's not 17?
Nope.
Interesting. iPhone Air.
Mm-hmm.
I'm looking at the site now and it just does say iPhone Air. Mm-hmm. Interesting. So how are they going to keep track? What's the versioning control on this?
Not sure.
Unless the next one's going to be iPhone 1, iPhone Air 1. That sounds weird. But yeah, iPhone Air is introduced into the lineup. And to me, it kind of feels like it's replacing the Plus because there's no Plus in the 17, in this announcement, because I can't even say it's an iPhone Air 17. It's just the iPhone Air. The thinnest iPhone ever. And when this came up, we've all been talking about this thin phone speculation. Of course, now we finally get confirmation. But seeing the graphics and the video when it first played, and basically they were like balancing this phone on like a fingertip, and the fingertip was wider than this phone. I think to me that was probably one of the most jarring things, because just holding my 16 Pro, it's a pretty thin phone. And then just thinking, that is, I don't know, maybe half the width of the current phone is pretty wild. So, again, this is the first of its name, iPhone Air. It is, a lot of time folks are into early adoption. This will be definitely an early adopter phone, because there are some people who say, I never buy the first version of anything. So I guess for the iPhone Air, what are you thinking when you first saw this kind of come up and they kind of went through what to expect from the iPhone Air?
Very interesting as far as the look is concerned. I'm pretty sure that's the device that most people gravitated to because it looks so different in the sense that it has that super thin layout. I think that's what most people drew their eyes to. One of the things that sets it apart in addition to that is it has a polished titanium frame. So the other iPhones are more of a matte color on the sides, but this iPhone Air has more of a polished look around the sides. I wouldn't call it, it's not glass. That's not the word I'm looking for. We'll call it a polished aluminum display, but it's actually titanium frame. So they've polished up this titanium frame that makes it strong, but also sets it apart from the other iPhones. One of the trade-offs for this slim phone is the fact that it doesn't have multiple cameras. Now, according to Apple, they have two cameras built into one, but if you look at the rear of the iPhone Air, it just has the single camera hole. And Apple's doing some software stuff to give you the impression that it can do, not give you the impression, it does a couple of different things on the software side without needing a dual camera display. Like the iPhone 17 has the two cameras vertical on one side. The iPhone Air has the one camera and it is housed in the horizontal camera
Bar.
housing. I guess I call it housing. And
And they're
then
calling
so
it a fusion camera.
right, because it fuses multiple cameras together, right? So on one side, if you look at the back, it has the in this oval shaped housing that goes the length of the iPhone at the top. It has the camera on the right side or the left side, and on the right side, it has the flash and the additional. I want to. It's not lidar, but it's the additional
Sensor.
sensor. That's the word I was looking for. The additional sensor on it. So that is definitely going to make it look a little bit different. It is in between, as far as size is concerned. It's in between the iPhone 17 regular and the iPhone 17 Pro and Pro Max. So you get a little bit smaller display. Some of the things that you may have to sacrifice if you're interested in this iPhone Air is the battery life is going to be not as good as the Pros or the actual iPhone 17 regular. So that's something to definitely look at. A couple other things I don't think that they mentioned in the actual Apple event is the speakers won't be as robust because literally on the bottom there are less speaker holes on the iPhone 17. But what you do get, the benefit of the iPhone 17 is you get a sexier looking device that is
Yeah.
unlike the other phones in the lineup, which may attract a lot of people. Personally, I'm still back and forth. I'm still back and forth between keeping my iPhone 16 Pro Max, and if I do upgrade, it may even be considered a downgrade if I do pick up the iPhone Air because my iPhone 16 Pro Max has the three cameras. It has the regular, the ultra wide, and the telephoto lens, which lends to better pictures, better video, better content than it. So versus the iPhone Air just has the one fusion camera and the less battery life. So if you want something new and funky or new and sexy in the iPhone Air, you are giving up battery life, you are giving up camera, and you are giving up size to the iPhone Pro Max. And as far as the iPhone 17, it does have a little bit better battery life and it does have the two cameras. Again, we'll have to see how well this fusion camera works. But for people who are looking for form over function, the iPhone Air is for you.
Yeah. And if you want that new, this is for you for sure. And this phone does come in multiple colors. You have your standard, what is, ultimately black. You have your, I think this is white.
It comes in black, space black,
Space
comes in
black,
cloud white, it comes in light gold, and it comes in this sky blue color.
blue. And I was like, the sky blue, I was like, I get it. It's air, sky. Okay. I see where they're going with this. So yeah, this is definitely the kind of newness of it. For this iPhone Air, since it is new to the lineup, all of the it starts at 256 gigabytes of storage, and it starts at $999. So I think it's, like I said, it's, of course it's a new device, but it starts on, the pricing is on par for what we've seen before when it comes to iPhones. Right. On the product highlights, we're going to round it out with the iPhone Pro line. So that's your Pro and Pro Max. So we talked about this last week when we were trying to kind of, or maybe it was the week before, kind of get an idea when Apple drops these events. They have they have these weird titles and they have these weird graphics. And when I first saw the graphic, it reminded me, I call it heat seeking, but I think Amos said on DTNS that it's infrared. And
Mhm.
I was like, oh, okay, yeah, same thing. So I think during the announcement, when they were showing the form factor, the casing, the housing of the iPhone Pro line, you could see that same type of visualization because of the material that the iPhone Pro line is now made of. So to me, that kind of answered the question of I didn't get what this heat seeking looking Apple logo is. They answered that question when they kind of broke down the foundation of the phone as far as the material that it's made for.
Yeah,
So,
according to the website, it says at the core of the new design is a heat forged aluminum unibody enclosure that maximizes performance, battery capacity, and durability.
yeah. So to me, this phone, just visually looking at it, it looks beefier to me.
Hmm.
It
Hmm.
looks like it has a little bit more weight and depth to it on kind of like the visual side of it. And I think probably one of the most stunning things of when they kind of showed the new phone, they launched it with showing it in this, they call it cosmic orange, but it's this really kind of bold orange color. And typically the Pro line has a space black, has the space gray, usually has a gold, and then typically the fourth color is kind of like your your new color. Ooh, this is new. But they kind of shocked us with this orange, but then the this very dark navy, like a midnight blue is the other color, and then the gray color. So it's only three colors that this phone comes in. That I think to me was probably one of the more shocking things. I assumed that when we heard some of the rumors that the orange would replace the gray, but I never suspected that they would drop the space black.
Yep, they sure did, and it's a midnight color, and it's while it's dark blue, it ain't black. You can definitely
And you can
tell.
definitely tell it's blue.
You can definitely tell it's blue. So that is definitely interesting. Of course, the orange is interesting. I mentioned that I think it matches the action button on the Apple
Mm-hmm.
Watch Ultra bands watch line, and they've got that silver color. So we will see how this works. Apple is not scared of launching new colors. They had a green color back in the
Mm-hmm.
day. They had like a weird blue color, So Apple is trying to find out to see what people gravitate to the most. And I'll be honest, I will be honest,
Mm-hmm.
I would give the orange color a try if I were upgrading to the 17 Pro Max because it stands out and you can definitely tell, ooh, you got the 17
That's
Pro
new.
Max. Yeah, yeah,
You
that's
don't
new.
have to kind of guess.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And for some people that matters.
Yeah.
So if I were, I would give it a try. I would
Mm-hmm.
give it a try to see how I feel about it.
Yeah, I just never thought that they would drop the black. That to me was like, oh, wow, that's not there. Anything else, I guess, that maybe stands out for you on the Pro line? It seems to me the biggest change is the form factor that the guts of the phone are in, the because on the back of it it kind of has like a, it almost like looks to me, you're used to kind of, the circle for the MagSafe on there. It looks like, and they highlighted it like it's like a plate almost that the Apple logo is on, and it's of a lighter color than the
Mhm.
phone. So to me, like I said, when I first saw it, I was like, oh, this is a beefier, kind of heavier phone. It gives me kind of like the ultra feel, because that was one of the biggest things when looking at the Apple Watches. I like face, the way the face is made on the ultra, but it's, to me, it's more rugged and thick, if that makes sense
Well,
to
it
me
gives
for
off
a
the
watch.
appearance. It gives off the
Yes,
appearance that it's thicker. I don't think
right.
it's thicker at all, but it does have that camera bump I guess that's what we'll call it,
Yeah.
the camera bump or camera housing
Yeah.
that does make it look beefier across the top. The
Yeah.
camera array is in the same array, that little triangle look, but that's
Hmm.
all how, and the flash and the sensors are all still enclosed in that housing, which makes it look different. So even though
And
it's
it reaches and it goes the basically the full length of the back camera. If you think of the other phones, you kind of have like the little curved square where you have like the cameras and then you have the sensors. Now it's more spaced out across the full width of the top part of the bump of the phone.
yep, and the
So
other
you'll
only other,
definitely you'll definitely be able to tell when someone has an iPhone 17 Pro or Pro Max because it doesn't look anything like the 16 or any version below it. It's definitely, to me, it's kind of like a standout in knowing exactly what you're getting. It seems to me that for the iPhones this time, each version has a distinct, I guess we'll call it personality, a distinct look and a distinct feel. So you can definitely tell what's a standard iPhone. You can definitely tell what's an iPhone Air. You can definitely tell what is on the iPhone Pro line.
Yep, and the cameras are nothing to sneeze at either. Like I mentioned, all three cameras have a 48 megapixel capacity, and they also go up to 8 times zoom. So you can optical zoom rather. So you can get in pretty tight on things. And I must admit, even though I'm not a camera person, well, let me not say I'm not a camera person, even though I don't feel like I qualify as a camera person for this phone, I will say utilizing the Pro RAW or ProRes function that does
Mm-hmm.
eat up a lot of space, but them pictures look good.
Crispy as hell.
Yeah, even on my phone, I've got
Yeah.
this 16 Pro Max, and I think I do have the. Let me see if I go into my camera. I've got the raw max turned on, and
Mm-hmm.
when you take a picture, those pictures look good. So
Yeah.
if you are considering upgrading to the 17 Pro Max, definitely take advantage of getting the nicer storage capacity so you can take those raw pictures, and I mean they look good again,
Yeah.
and it's easy, so you don't have to go in and tweak anything. And I mean, if you are a camera aficionado, they have those additional settings that you can
For the
tweak.
pro people,
Yeah, but if you're not doing any of that and you just turn on the Pro, what is it called again?
it's called Raw. Pro
Raw.
Raw?
It's called, there's ProRes, and then there's
There's something
Raw Max.
raw.
Yeah, there's Raw Max, and then there's ProRes. I think the
Okay.
ProRes functionality eats up all the battery, eats up all the storage space.
Yeah.
But if you just turn it on the regular Raw Max, which is like the step down from the ProRes or whatever they
Mm-hmm.
call it, it gets some good pictures.
Yeah.
So I'll be honest, I'm gonna have to think about this a little bit longer. Because I'm not sure. For the first time in a while, I'm not sure if I'm not going to get any phone, or if I do, I'm not sure if I like the smaller form. I think I like the smaller
Mm-hmm.
form, function of the iPhone Air. Form factor is what I meant to say.
Yeah.
Get
Yeah.
grief. Of the iPhone 17, iPhone Air, but
Mm-hmm.
this iPhone 17 Pro Max, I mean, is what I'm used to. So I don't know. I do not know.
So I will say, the iPhone 17 Pro didn't get a price bump. So I guess all of the shilling that Tim Cook did worked out in his favor, because it doesn't look, at least on the surface, that the tariff issues that were going on, it didn't affect the price. Now, whether Apple just is eating the additional cost at this point, whatever is going on behind the scenes is not affecting the consumer yet on, front facing on the price. So no price change in the Pro line either. All of these phones, the iPhone Standard, the Air, and the Pro line, You can pre-order them starting on Friday. That is September 12th at 5 a.m. Pacific time. So that would be 8 a.m. Eastern time.
Mm-hmm.
So I had this for a little bit later, but I guess we can do it first. Were you influenced by this announcement to purchase anything? And if you were, what do you plan to get?
So I pre-ordered the AirPods. I mean, that's if you haven't already guessed, I'm due for an upgrade. So I definitely pre-ordered those. And outside of that, I don't know. Like I mentioned, the iPhone 7, iPhone Air is attractive as far as the new kid on the block, but the iPhone 17 Pro lineup with those better cameras, as much as I like to claim I don't need them, it is
Mm-hmm.
certainly good to have because there have been times to where I have taken pictures and post taking the picture, I've gone in and changed the portrait aperture. I think is what they call it, to where you can blur, and I think that does a good job on the Pro Max. I mean, I think that feature is available on any iPhone that offers portrait mode,
Mm-hmm.
but on those images on that Pro Max, I mean, them pictures look good, and I would be giving up that picture quality if I were to go down to the iPhone Air. In addition to
Yeah.
that, I'd be giving up battery life. I'd be giving up sound quality. While I really don't listen to a lot of music straight from my phone, again,
Mm-hmm.
it's a nice to have, so I would be downgrading if I were to pick up the iPhone Air over my current phone and definitely over the 17 Pro Max. But like I mentioned, I do like the form factor of the iPhone Air because it's thinner. I don't use cases,
Mm-hmm.
and I just jam my phone in my pocket. So I don't like the phone bulge in the front of my pocket. So the iPhone Air would definitely be a uh, um, would go up would fit my requirements. And
Mm-hmm.
I've got regular size hands. I don't have those huge hands, so I do find myself not alternating, switching, turning my phone around, especially when I'm using one hand to get to the top. I use the swipe down feature, to where if you swipe down on the action button, not the action button, the bar at the bottom, it brings the screen down so I can get to the top. Maybe the iPhone Air, I don't have to do that,
Mm-hmm.
so it's, for me, it's a question of function with the cameras and the battery life and the better display over form, which is a little bit smaller phone, a little bit sleeker phone, and like I said, that is the more distinctive of the different phones. So I don't know. I'm actually have to think about it. So and no watch. That's what I will say. I'm not getting a watch this year. I'm gonna stick with my Black Ultra 2 and just wait it out and see what the next lineup has.
Yeah, for me, definitely the AirPods Pro 3. I've mentioned several times that I've washed mine in the washing machine before. So I'm definitely due for an upgrade in the AirPods arena and nothing else. I'd already kind of went into it hoping that we get AirPods, and I said they're AirPods that I'm getting, but I was not influenced. Not even a little bit. I
Okay.
think the Air is interesting.
Hmm.
It's definitely, I'm usually an early adopter, but I don't think anything about it says, oh, I need to pre order this. I need to have this right now. Maybe, down the line in a few months, maybe that'll change, but I I'm not influenced.
All
Give me
right.
the AirPods and I'll
Go on, send you on your
be
way.
see me see me at the next event
Okay.
and see what Apple has. And it really it's it's funny. I'm kind of sad because I don't know, I'm always willing to give Apple my money, and I'm kind of sad that I wasn't influenced, or that I'm not like, oh my God, I gotta have this. Maybe if I get my hands on it, maybe that'll change my mind.
Well,
I don't
maybe
know.
that may be a good thing because I'm pretty sure Apple every year is racking its brain on
Hmm.
trying to come up with that super duper flashy thing that makes everybody
Outdo
stand
the
up and clap.
previous year. Yep.
Right. And I think that's what people are used to. But
Hmm.
now it seems like people are starting to wean themselves off of that and
Hmm.
they just want to see what Apple announces year after year after year,
Hmm.
when before Apple really like the whole one more thing
Hmm.
phase was like,
We haven't had those in a one of those in a minute.
right, because Apple's like, man, this is all we got,
We're running
and
out of ideas, my guy.
right, and it really doesn't. People have saw through the smoke screen of Apple bending over backwards to
Hmm.
come up with this thing that
Hmm.
makes everybody hoop and holler and everybody talking, everybody consider buying. I think the last thing was Apple Intelligence, which flopped last year.
Fizzled.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Because, Apple went as far as to say, you got to get this phone in order to get Apple Intelligence. And I'm
Yeah.
pretty sure a lot of people went and got those phones, and Apple really didn't deliver on their own promise. I ain't saying they didn't
Yeah.
deliver because they did offer some nice intelligence features that I use,
Right.
on the regular,
Hmm.
but it wasn't what Apple promised. They
Promised.
couldn't really deliver on it. So I think then Apple was kind of like, all right, we're gonna offer some new colors, we're gonna offer a new form factor, and that's about it.
What
And I
is it?
think
I think they're on the whole under promise over deliver
I don't even think it's
type of
that.
thing.
I just think it's like y'all could know we got new phones coming. We're gonna announce some new phones. We're gonna come up with some funny ways to explain these new phones, and that's it.
But you're just gonna take it. You just gotta take this what we got. It's
Hmm.
kind of like the whole saying, it's food at the house. This is
Hmm.
they're like, this what we got. And you either into it or you're either not. Well, I guess I'll get to that. That's one of the other things kind of downlining this. So for me, AirPods Pro 3, for Terrance, AirPods Pro 3, and a possible phone,
Maybe,
maybe.
maybe.
All right. From the event of this lineup, do you have a favorite?
The AirPods 3, the AirPods Pro 3, because it does
Yeah.
it does it does what I needed to do. And maybe I need to do that. Maybe I need to stop getting phones every year
Yeah.
and not wait every other year, but wait every 2 years. So let's just say I picked up a iPhone. Let's say I picked up the iPhone 17 Pro Max this year, right? I'm
Hmm.
upgrading from the 16 Pro Max, which a lot of people will say that's stupid. Mind your
Hmm.
business. But anyway, let's just say I did that, right? Maybe I need to wait past the 18, past the 19, and then when the iPhone 20 comes out, I'm like, oh yes, because I need a new
This is
phone
definitely different than mine. Yeah,
because I
because I'm
can't,
normally an every
yeah.
other year kind of girl on the iPhone, unless it's something that's like, oh wow, I have to have it. And even that every other year isn't really doing it for me. But I too concur that the AirPods Pro, and I think I said this when I introed the segment, that um, I was most excited about the AirPods Pro
Mhm.
of the whole lineup. So we're
Maybe what I'll
both.
do this year, what
Mm-hmm,
maybe what I'll do this year is I won't sweat it on Friday.
uh-huh,
We normally do the traditional get up and right now you can go through and set up your order and set up your trade in and have it in the
mm-hmm.
cart. So when Friday rolls around and you
Just click a
start
button.
pushing buttons, maybe I won't do that this year. Maybe like on Friday, I'll just waltz up to the Apple store after the morning rush because
Uh-huh.
everybody's, got queued up or whatever. And then Apple, like on Apple, it, product day where they're actually shipping and delivering devices, people are standing in long lines. Maybe
Yeah.
I'll go to the food court, get me some Chinese food, walk
Get you a
around,
cookie or a
right?
Cinnabon.
Yeah, walk around to see, people watch, and then when things kind of die down or on the weekend, walk
Uh-huh.
in and look at the devices and hold them and look at the screens and stick them in my pocket and then make a decision there. Maybe I'll do that this year. Maybe I won't. That I'll declare that I will not be up on Friday scrambling to make sure I get my place in line, because I don't think enough of these things are going to fly off the shelf to where if I go in on Friday afternoon, they'll be like, we don't have no more of those,
Sorry, bro.
And if they don't, then I'll go to my carrier and get it,
Yeah.
because they'll be sitting waiting around for people, because people like to go to the Apple store. Maybe
Mm-hmm.
I'll just go to the T-Mobile store after I've been to the Apple store to get the in-store experience and be like, all right, deuces, and then go
Mm-hmm.
to T-Mobile and pick one up.
It's so much so that I haven't even pre-ordered the AirPods Pro because I think I'll be able to get them without a problem. You know, to me, this announcement and this whole kind of buzz around this is normally what kind of gets us like amped up, like, yeah, we gotta, set up our stuff. This is very much a laissez-faire experience with Apple this year. I have to say. And with that, do you have a least favorite product or nah?
Not necessarily a least favorite, but I really don't care about the regular series Apple Watches
Mm-hmm.
anymore. I like the size of my um Ultra 2,
Your
so I
Ultra?
kind of like it. Yeah, at first I was poo-pooing it, a couple years ago. I distinctly remember that.
Mm-hmm.
Poo-pooing the size of it, and poo-pooing like I don't need the the tracking and all the action button and all
I don't need
the
all this.
hiking and all the things.
Underwater.
Yeah, and I don't need all that, right? But actually, I like the form
Mm.
factor of the Apple Watch Ultra, especially, and people say, "Oh, I hate the button." I think the orange button is a nice little
Gives
distinction.
a little flair, a little
Yeah,
pizzazz even.
and if I was, trying to gonna try something new and get the
Mm.
orange 17 Pro Max, I think it would
Oh,
be a
it would
nice
work with
little.
your watch. It would
It
go
would
with your
it would
watch.
still work with my watch, even though the 17 doesn't have the space black that the
Yeah.
16 does. So, but all that to say, I'm not pressed about buying a phone this year.
Yeah.
Not pressed.
I don't have a least favorite either. Everything outside of the AirPods just like, okay, cool. Hmm, for me.
Yeah.
Um on the other side of this, do you have a favorite feature from the event?
A favorite feature? That is a good question. I probably would say I like on all the phones that they are beefing up the scratch and drop resistance
Mm-hmm.
with the ceramic shield 2 and ceramic shield this and the that. So I'm definitely looking forward to that, because like I said, I don't use a case. So if I
Mm-hmm.
do get a phone, I'm not even sure. I may put a little flimsy screen protector on there just to stop it from getting scratched.
Mm-hmm.
And that's it. So I'm trusting that Apple's quote unquote ceramic shield coating on the screen will be enough to, and around, the harder, sturdier frame,
Mm-hmm.
is enough to where I don't have to put a case on it. But if I were interested in getting a case, I would definitely get the iPhone Air, because it's so slim that even if you put a case on it, it's still slim.
Yeah. Yeah. Um Shoot, you know what? I did lie. I do have a least favorite product.
Leaf's favorite product, all right?
Yeah, going back one. The crossbody strap. I was like, oh my God. It just reminds me, I said it on the live. I was like, oh my God, that just reminds me so much of an old person, because it's a phone case. It's a specific phone case you have to have that
Mhm,
has the hooks on it. And it makes
mhm.
like your phone just kind of like a crossbody. So yeah, that just, I don't know what made me think of that. I wonder if it was because it reminds me of Barbara Howard uh, on Abbott Elementary. She always
Uh,
has her phone
I got it.
in that pearl. It's like a pearl strap, and it's just the
Mhm,
phone that's hooked across. And she kind of picks it up. She does her thing. That's just what it reminds me of.
mhm.
Okay. Favorite new feature. Sorry about that, but I had to get that off. Favorite new feature. Mm, I guess maybe the translation, if I have to
Okay.
pick one.
Okay.
Maybe not favorite, but probably most interesting of the features, I would say.
All right.
Um, Least favorite feature. Got one?
Not really. Not really.
Yeah.
There's nothing I was like, that's just stupid. I don't
Yeah.
think I have any of that. Well, let me say that. Let me say the way Apple explains things is my least favorite feature because they're always, we've redesigned this on an atomic level, or it's got and all the language that Apple uses to explain their processes that they use to create these things. It's like, all right, come on,
They are
Apple.
really they've gotten the oversell down pat.
Hmm.
It's the put in a descriptor ever we've created.
Hmm.
Everything every year is this is the most blank thing ever in iPhone. Blank
It's just
everything in Apple Watch. Every year it's just like that. So
it's
yeah.
just the way they explain stuff. Heat
Yeah.
forged aluminum. It's like, how else would you forge something? They got,
Something metal anyway.
yeah, they got the in the 17 Pro and the Pro Max, it has the vapor cooled internals, and it's just how they explain the processes that goes
Was it
into.
vapor cooled? Was it like did they say disc or something? Did they like give it a descriptor of the
I don't know if
shape
it's,
that it's in, or did I make that up?
no, I don't think they gave a descriptor of the internals of the 17. They just call it a vapor cooled chamber is what they called it.
Oh, chambers, maybe what I'm thinking of. I was thinking that they gave like a physical descriptor of what the vapor cool thing was, and you said chamber. I was thinking it was
Yeah,
something else. Yeah.
yeah.
I don't think I have a least favorite because again, everything kind of else is like okay, that's cool. Nothing like it's very middle of the road for
Hmm.
me on this event. It's like that's cool if you're into it, you know. Again, very laissez-faire.
Hmm.
Okay, before we get out of here, do you think I've seen rumors and as soon as even people should still be what's the word I'm looking for? Reveling in the awe dropping event. They've already moved to the next thing. Do you think there will be a one more thing event or announcement for 2025? Because I'm seeing some rumors.
I don't believe so. I
Mm.
don't believe so. I think all the things that we were talking about with this home pod with a screen
Mm-hmm.
and any other sort of things like that, I don't believe it. I think this is it for the year, and Apple's going to get ready for maybe some MacBooks next year in March.
Mm. I was thinking. I don't think it would have been an event, but I was thinking they may drop the M5, some M5 Max this year. That's why I was thinking that we may get an announcement that say, "Hey, we got some new M5 Max, M5 iPads. Here you go, enjoy." But
Hmm.
then what will they announce in March if
Right.
they did that this year?
Nope. I think we're back to iPhones in the fall, Macs, and all other stuff in the spring.
Sounds about right. Apple seems to really be locking down and seriously going back to the traditional cadence of things. That seems where they are. And it makes sense because, again, they're running out of things to sell us.
Hmm.
So, yeah. That was a bit of a wrap up of the awe dropping event that happened on Tuesday. Definitely hit us up on Discord, on social media, and let us know what you think. So that pretty much took up most of the show this week. We're going to jump into the hookup for our tech tip of the week before we get out of here.
Yeah, real quick, Apple did not mention the iOS 26 release during the Apple event. So I just want to let you know for the hookup this week, if you are waiting on iOS 26, it officially launches next Monday, September 15th. So hop on that.
Get it just in time for your new phones if you're getting one get to try it out on your old device. Or if you're like me and not getting one, you'll get the new OS before all the other hoopla comes out. And with that, that's going to wrap up this week's show. We had a lot to talk about the newness that Apple dropped. Brother Tech, where can the people find you?
Yep, you can find me all over the internet at Brother Tech. That's BROTHATECH.
And you can find me at Tech Savvy Diva all over the interwebs. Again, you can connect, you can comment, you can share, you can follow and support the show by going over to snubwithcast.com to get all the details. And with that, we will see you next week.
Peace.
Bye, everybody.